Okay, hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the future of privacy and proof of innocence. To start, who am I? I am Ekrem, one of the co-founders at Chainway, and I'm also leading the development of proof of innocence and privacy pools version 1. You can find my socials, it all Ekrem Bal. So Chainway, we are a blockchain infrastructure company focused on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and zero-knowledge technology. Here you can see my co-founders Orkun, Esat, Murat, and me. So why privacy is important on blockchains? Actually, there are a lot of reasons. I will state 2 of them. One of it is security, because in Ethereum and every other blockchains, generally, every transactions are public, meaning that people can de-anonymize you if they interact with you. And this could lead to targeted attacks or scams. Even though you think that you're using hardware wallets, using a lot of encryption, you can be beaten until you give your private key. Another important reason is user adoption. Because there's this thing called chilling effect on public blockchains. Whenever you're going to do a transaction, you think twice, because it will stay on the blockchain forever, no matter what you do. So we need privacy for user adoption. OK, so what's Tornado Cash? Tornado Cash is one of the most popular privacy protocol on Ethereum. It is a smart contract where you deposit to Tornado Cash, wait some amount of time, and withdraw after that with a new, fresh address. With using zero-knowledge technology, these withdrawals cannot be linked with your deposits. You break the link between your deposit and withdrawal. And since you withdraw the new address, you gain some privacy. It works like this. As you can see, Alice, Bob, Eve deposited to the anonymity set. We call this anonymity set because more people deposit, meaning that you will gain more anonymity. And as you can see on the right side, withdrawals are just some addresses without any link to deposits. And since Tornado Cash is a great privacy protocol and used by a lot of people, it has a big anonymity set. That means it's also used by a lot of illicit accounts. This is a report from Chain Analysis. And as you can see, there are a lot of deposits from sanctioned addresses, stolen funds, and also centralized exchanges. So, Tornado Cash has a problem. You have to share the same anonymity set with everyone. This can be DeFi hackers, sanctioned addresses, North Korean hackers. You have to share the same anonymity set. OK, maybe you have not to share the same anonymity set because Tornado Cash has a compliance tool, which means that you put your Tornado Cash note over there, and it shows your deposit and withdrawal. It links your deposit to withdrawal, but you lose your whole privacy. So this is meant to give it to centralized exchanges, banks, but you have to trust them to not share this compliance report, because it breaks your anonymity. So even though Tornado Cash had this compliance tool, it got sanctioned by OFAC. So now US citizens cannot use Tornado Cash. After the sanctions, the usage of Tornado Cash has dropped a lot, because people are scared that they will not use their withdrawal on centralized exchanges. So after the sanctions, we thought, can privacy and compliance coexist? And the answer is, with proof of innocence, we believe yes. OK, so what's proof of innocence? Let's say there are three deposits on Tornado Cash, one from Alice, one from Bob, and one from Eve. Let's say that Eve is publicly known hacker or illicit account. Since Ethereum is public, you can trace it before the deposit happens. So let's say Eve is a North Korean hacker. With proof of innocence, a withdrawal can also say that I am either Alice or Bob, meaning that I'm not Eve. So they proved their innocence. So if everyone uses this, as you can see, the second withdrawal couldn't prove that they're not Eve, meaning that they are Eve. So we can break the anonymity of bad actors if everyone uses proof of innocence. So I'm going to get a little bit detail about technical details over here. So whenever you do a deposit to a Tornado Cash, your deposit is added to a Merkle tree. As you can see, there are 6 deposits. So some deposits can be from illicit accounts. These deposits can be linked with a public key to a leaf index. Let's say, as you can see here, deposit 2 and deposit 5 are known from bad actors. And let's say deposit 4 is your deposit. Whenever you do a withdrawal, you prove that you are inside the Merkle tree, meaning that you deposited once. There's also a nullifier to prevent double spending, but you basically make a zero-knowledge proof that you are inside the Merkle tree. And give it to a smart contract. Smart contract verifies this and gives your deposit in a new, fresh address. So for proof of innocence, you provide a zero-knowledge proof of your specified inclusion tree. As you can see here, this inclusion tree does not have deposit 2 and deposit 5. So if you prove that you are inside this tree, you also prove that you are not bad actor. You are not those deposit 2 and deposit 5. There's also a point here that you should also share your inclusion tree leaves, because since this is a Merkle tree, only the root doesn't mean anything. You also should share 1, 3, 4, 6 to whom you're sharing proof of innocence. OK, I want to tell you about an analogy about proof of innocence. Imagine yourself at a private pool. If someone pees in the pool, people may wrongly assume it's you. With proof of innocence, you can vindicate yourself without disclosing your identity. You're still anonymous, but you didn't pee inside the pool. By applying game theory, we expect bad actors to stay away from the pool, because they will know they will be excluded from others. So basically, proof of innocence gives you the ability to exclude yourself from a list of deposits without revealing your whole identity. It's just a tool on top of privacy protocols, which gives you more ability. Now you don't have to share the same anonymous set with illicit accounts, North Korean hackers, DeFi hackers. You can exclude them. Also, shout out to privacy pools, which is a Tornado Cash fork with built-in proof of innocence. OK, so Tornado Cash and privacy pools only works for same amount of deposit and withdrawals, meaning that you can only deposit 1 ETH, 10 ETH, 100 ETH, or 0.1 ETH. And this means that we are human beings, and we can sometimes have fingerprints. So with good heuristics, actually you can identify, you can link some deposits to withdrawals. So what's next? Next is having a privacy protocol with arbitrary amounts, shielded transactions, and built-in proof of innocence, meaning that you can deposit any amount you want inside the pool You can send some money to anyone else inside the pool, and you can also prove your innocence. By proof of innocence in this privacy rule means that your source of funds are not from a bad actor, bad list. We're working on 2 ongoing projects right now, which is Privacy Pools version 1, which is basically a Tornado Nova fork with built-in proof of innocence. But it requires some recursive zero-knowledge proofs for inclusion sets. And Railgun. Railgun is already working privacy protocols with arbitrary amounts and shielded transactions. And since it's already working, adding proof of innocence on top of Railgun is a challenge. OK, what's the biggest challenge? Let's say this green rectangle is the privacy pool, and Alice deposits 2 ETH, Bob deposits 3 ETH, and Eve, which is a publicly known bad actor, deposits 7 ETH. So Bob wants to send 2 ETH to Alice. Since it's a shielded transaction, Alice doesn't know the source of funds. So since Alice doesn't know the source of funds, they can't use that because it can be from Eve. But also, Bob doesn't want to reveal his identity when sending money privately, because you dox yourself. You don't want to do that. So what's the solution? Bob adds a proof of innocence to the transaction, meaning that, hey, Alice, take this 2 ETH, and you can be sure that this 2 ETH is not coming from Eve. So now, Alice knows that the money does not come from Eve, and use it more confident. Also, Alice can join these 2 and make a withdrawal with 4 ETH, also stating that this 4 ETH withdrawal is either from Bob or Alice, and not from Eve. So some more technical challenges here. Let's say Alice and Bob sends you money with the proof of innocence. Alice sends you 1 ETH with the inclusion tree only including 1, 3, and 4. Alice removed deposit 2 and deposit 5 because they're known to be from Eve, which is a bad actor. And let's say Bob sends you 2 ETH with proof of innocence with an inclusion set that has only 3 and 4. Bob removed 2 and 5, and also Bob removed 1 because he wants to be safe, maybe. So how we are going to use these 2 inclusion sets and make a new inclusion set? And also, let's say when you're withdrawing, there are also new deposits, let's say 6, and they're known to be safe, and you want to include them as well. So this is a hard challenge, actually, in technical side, because you have to prove that your inclusion tree is a superset of these received 2 inclusion trees. And with the power of recursive zero-knowledge proofs, you can prove that your inclusion tree is a superset of this. Also, there's another challenge with choosing your inclusion set, because these privacy protocols doesn't have 3 deposits, they have thousands. So you cannot choose by hand and decide if it's a bad actor or not. So there will be intermediaries, which we call them association set providers, where they provide you your inclusion set, your association set. One of the possible association set providers can be automatically add every deposit to the inclusion set after 7 days, to be sure. And in that 7 days, if the deposit is connected to a known bad behavior, this can be large-scale thefts, sanctioned addresses, and they can use some analysis from chain analysis, time-lapse, and etc. Also, check out Vitalik's new paper, which goes in deep of these association set providers and privacy pools. And hopefully to the future where we find the practical equilibrium between privacy and regulations. Thank you for listening.
Any questions?
Can you please elaborate on the creation of the privacy proof, no, the proof of innocence? I don't understand how I can prove that I am on one branch of the tree, but not on one of the two leaves at the very end.
Okay, so you're asking how the process of creating proof of innocence. Okay, so this is the inclusion tree. This is the inclusion tree that you want to prove that you are inside this tree, right? So first you choose an inclusion tree, create the tree, and inside the zero-knowledge circuit, you prove that you are a valid leaf on that tree. You give this Merkle path until the root, and you provide that you know a leaf, and you have that leaf, and this leaf also is inside the original tree, and you prove that you are inside the tree. You also give the leaves of this inclusion tree, meaning that a verifier can generate the inclusion tree locally, calculate the inclusion tree root, and verify that your proof is proved according to that inclusion tree root. So now they can be sure that you're inside that inclusion tree, and they can see what's included.
I think I'm missing some basics here. I will come and ask later.
Okay, sure.
I just want to verify my assumption. My assumption is that proof of innocence is a public thing. So whereas the original compliance tool, you shared it privately with an exchange or someone accepting your money. And this is something that, for example, a block explorer can report on. Is that correct?
It can be either public and private. We think that for public proof of innocence, you provide a more broad inclusion tree. Because if you make your inclusion tree smaller, you lose some anonymity. And whenever you're revealing your proof of innocence public, you want to make inclusion tree more bigger. But for example, if you are going to use a centralized exchange or a bank, and they want another smaller inclusion tree to make sure that you are not a bad actor, you can also reproof and only send that proof to the centralized exchange. So this can be both.
Okay, and maybe second question to verify. This proof is always generated on withdrawal.
Yeah.
So you never would create a proof that when you deposit, but maybe that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, deposits are public. You can see, you can link deposits with leaves. But also in arbitrary amounts shielded transactions, privacy protocols, you also give proof of innocence privately to whom you send to. So if I'm sending you money, I also provide you with a proof of innocence so that you can trust the money.
So, one question. What if you deposit in the shielded pool and then you're not on a list or something, and then you make this proof of innocence? Sorry,
can you repeat it?
Sorry. What if you deposit in the shielded pool and you created this proof of innocence because your address is on no list, and then you instantly send it to someone else shielded, but you have this valid proof? Can you, it's not possible to make this UTXO
okay,
blacklist is right?
So you're asking, you deposit to a shielded pool, and then you instantly send to someone else.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, you cannot add, you should add last 7 days deposits. But what you can do is you add last 7 days deposits, and from the receiver, after 7 days, if last 7 days are safe, they can also add that last 7 days to the inclusion set, and then go again.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing all of that. Can you put the slide about the miracle tree?
Which slide?
The miracle tree, the proof of inclusion, and so on.
Oh. The first ones or last ones?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter actually.
Okay.
So when you want to prove that that transaction or that that entity is within that miracle tree, the first question that I have is, what do you do if it is on different blocks or across time? Because it might not be within the same miracle root, right? You don't want to have a huge one across time. So do you keep an array of all different roots of the miracle tree and prove it until maybe in the last day or week? Or what do you do to because you're comparing it to the root of the tree, and that might have been passed if you decide to do it in different days.
So I'm not sure if I get your question correct, but there is this global miracle tree that has been stored on-chain and includes all deposits. And in the shielded mode, it also includes all transactions, shielded transactions outputs. So yeah, contract keeps changes of last, let's say, 10 roots. So whenever you send your proof, it checks that if it's a valid root. And with your inclusion tree, you provide your inclusion tree root, and the verifier checks that with the given leaves, if the calculated root equals to the sent proof's root. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.